In January 1959, 10 hikers traveled into the Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia. They were heading into a brutal winter environment where temperatures routinely dropped well below freezing. These hikers were highly skilled. They had extensive experience navigating harsh winter conditions and knew exactly how to prepare for severe cold. Before they reached the hardest part of the route, one member fell ill and turned back, leaving 9 to continue the trek. On February 1st, they pitched their tent on a snowy slope. The plan was simple: finish the route and send a telegraph back home to confirm they made it. The message never arrived. Days turned into weeks. Relatives demanded action, prompting the military to launch a massive, coordinated search operation across the frozen wilderness. These hikers knew the rules of mountain survival. Whatever happened on that slope broke every single one of them. The search teams eventually pinpointed the campsite on a desolate, rocky incline. What they found there contradicted every logical instinct of a survivalist. The tent was still standing. Most of their cold weather gear and supplies were neatly packed inside, but the canvas had been slashed open from the inside out. Leading away from the torn fabric was a trail of footprints. The searchers noticed immediately that the tracks lacked heavy winter treads. The hikers had fled wearing only socks. Some were completely barefoot. They were running directly into a lethal environment. Nighttime temperatures on that slope plummeted past -30 degrees Celsius. Escaping without jackets or boots meant almost certain death. Something terrified the group so intensely that freezing in the dark became the safer option. Searchers found the first frozen bodies a short distance away near a large cedar tree. Broken branches indicated a desperate, failed attempt to start a fire. It took months for the snow to melt enough to locate the rest of the group scattered across the terrain. When the autopsy reports came back, the mystery deepened. This highlights the coroner's reports. Several hikers suffered massive internal trauma, including severe skull fractures and shattered rib cages. Yet, adding the skin layer reveals almost zero external damage. No bruising, scrapes, or puncture wounds. Investigators were entirely baffled. They had to find a massive force, capable of delivering the blunt impact of a car crash while leaving the skin completely unmarked. For decades, researchers tried building a logical sequence of events to explain the scene. The most common theory is an avalanche. A sudden wall of snow crashing down on the tent explains the frantic escape, and the extreme weight could certainly cause massive internal crushing injuries. But an avalanche destroys everything in its path. At the Dyatlov site, the tent was upright. The supplies inside were perfectly intact. There was no scattered debris. This diagram illustrates another leading theory: infrasound. Specific wind patterns over the mountain could generate low-frequency vibrations that interact directly with the human brain to induce absolute dread. Infrasound provides a neat explanation for why experienced hikers slashed their shelter in a panic. It completely fails to account for the shattered ribs. Others point to rumors of secret Soviet weapons testing or unexplained phenomena, fueled by witnesses in nearby towns reporting strange glowing lights in the sky that night. However, no declassified documents confirm a military test. The soldiers searching the site were visibly distressed by what they found, lacking any answers themselves. Every logical explanation eventually crashes into at least one piece of physical evidence refusing to fit. We're left with 3 primary points of evidence that defy alignment: the slashed tent, the barefoot flight, and the massive internal trauma. This diagram illustrates the search for a unifying theory. Over the last 60 years, no single explanation has managed to account for all 3 variables simultaneously. They exist on the same slope, but the facts refuse to converge. It is a stark reminder that the natural world can produce anomalies that entirely outsmart our forensic science. The landscape remains exactly as it was. The elements are still there, but the specific sequence of events that unfolded on February 1st, 1959, is lost to the cold. 9 people walked onto that frozen slope, and whatever forced them out into the dark is a secret the mountain is keeping forever.